One of the foremost names when it comes to the banking circles. He joins in right now to talk about his thoughts on the policy. Mr. Khara, great having you. Thanks for joining in. What did you make of the policy stance and the commentary given, and of course the measures taken on a host of issues, including the transmission measures?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the policy rate and the policy stance, policy rate, of course, has been kept as it is. Stance is now neutral. That is, I think, understandable considering the headwinds which are seen from the global scenario. So I think that is one reality which cannot be ignored. So keeping that in mind, but nevertheless, the kind of commentary which has come in is actually pro-industry. I would say that, increasing the hyper financing limit to 25 lakhs per investor, even cutting the risk weights to lower infrastructure financing, which will actually reduce the cost of infrastructure financing for NBFCs also. This will go a long way, considering the fact that there are global headwinds. So, the front loading is all being done by the fiscal and that to the infrastructure sector. So I think on that particular point, this is making the infrastructure financing cheaper is going to go a long way. Even going to the extent of supporting the exporters also, the measures which have been announced, it will go a long way. Even internationalization of rupee, particularly when it comes to, the neighboring countries like Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, this will also support, it will probably reduce the pressure on the rupee-dollar parity as well. And I think these are some of the steps which have been taken, which will which will actually support the Indian economy in these difficult times. And even for improving the credit flow to the real economy also, it has been proposed that they will provide enabling framework for supporting the acquisition financing, and also the listed debt securities can also be supported in terms of listed debt security. So these are some of the steps, which will actually create enablers for the economy.
Most certainly. Mr. Khara, what did you make of the measures being taken for transmission? Because I think that's one factor that everybody was watching out for, and supposedly the RBI hasn't disappointed there. There are moves being taken.
No, I think they are very closely monitoring the transmission, and I would also say that it's more of a suasion which is being adopted, moral suasion, when it comes to transmission. But we have to be very mindful of the fact that when it comes to banks, when the cost of deposits are becoming a challenge by itself and they are competing with the other market instruments, so that is one challenge. But then, of course, perhaps bank will have to now get into operational cost optimization, so that they can maintain their NIM, they can probably pay a little more to the depositor, and also at the same time they can support the economy by cutting the interest rate to the extent possible.
Got it. Sir, one last question. If the transmission measures and the efforts at transmission aren't quite happening at the pace that the RBI would have wanted, do you reckon the RBI will go ahead and cut rates in the next couple of policies since the inflation forecast is lower, or do you think they'll wait in light of the fact that the Fed outcome is a bit uncertain?
No, see, the point is when it comes to transmission, after the 100 basis point rate cut which has already happened, 58 basis point reduction has already taken place for the fresh loans. So I would say that there's always a lag when it comes to transmission. So I think to that extent, my sense is that even banks are looking at the right opportunities for lending. So I think it will be their endeavor that they would like to lend the right risk and at the right price at which people are willing to take such kind of loans. But I would also like to mention that almost about 35 trillion worth of growth has happened, out of which about 17 trillion has come from NBFC and capital market, etc. And when it comes to the banking system, about 18 trillion has come from there also. So I think it's a process, and much of it will depend upon the cost of their resources, their ability to manage their overall cost. So these are some of the guiding factors which will eventually impact the transmission.
Got it. Okay. Mr. Khara, lovely talking to you. Thanks for taking the time out and being with us today on NDTV Profit. Really appreciate your time. Well,